Man, that Elden Ring DLC sure looks fun. Sure would make a whole lot of sense if a certain video game YouTube man decided to make a video on a Soulsborne title in order to capitalize on that hype. Wouldn't even need to be a new game, could be that Dark Souls remaster that came out a while back. Sure would be a great way to capitalize on that juicy YouTube algorithm to rake in easy clicks. Psychonauts is a 3D platformer from the mind of Tim Schafer, the man responsible for Grim Fandango, Day of the Tentacle, and arguably his most famous game, The Secret of Monkey Island. I mention this because Psychonauts proudly exhibits its point-and-click adventure roots on its merit badge backpack. This game is one part Ratchet & Clank and another part Sam & Max, with the style and humor of both. Psychonauts' Burton-esque art style immediately either clicks with you or it doesn't, and it absolutely clicks with me. Every time I see the ugliest creature I've ever laid my eyes on, something else arrives to completely assault my fucking eyeballs, and I love this game for it. I don't care if I can count every individual pixel in these cutscenes, at least said cutscenes can make me laugh. All the realism in the world is never a match for personality, and this game has some personality. The dialogue of your fellow campers as well as the campground staff is always a joy to listen to. This place is full of psionic basket cases.
They may come for me, Dogen, but they'll be looking for Raz, the boy. What they're going to find, what they don't expect, is Raz, the Psychonaut.
And then you'll make their heads explode?
No. Do you do that?
No. Well, once kinda. But now I wear this special hat. Wanna try it on?
No.
I should probably talk about what this game is about, though. You play as Raz, short for Rasputin. You ran away from the circus to Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp, a remote government training facility where its best and brightest are trained to become elite international secret agents. In other words, Psychonauts. If my attitude towards this game wasn't clear enough already, I kinda ended up falling head over heels with this game. All the kids in the camp are either smarmy little assholes or demented gremlin folk. The staff are so quick to blow off responsibility even if it means the safety of the children, and Raz is just here for everything. He's just happy to immediately integrate himself with the others as well as learn everything about being a psychic. Despite the fact that he doesn't have his parents' permission to be here, he managed to win over Coach Oleander by spitting his own words back at him.
You were born with a special gift, but the people around you treat it like a curse. Your mother is afraid of you, and your father looks at you with shame in his eyes. Come to Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp, and you can show them all. Back home, your powers make you a loner, an outcast, a circus freak. But in this dojo, in this psychic dojo, they make you a hero.
Get that soldier a bunk.
What can I say? Raz is a charming little critter who grew on me. That, and it's nice to hear Billy from Billy and Mandy if he had a brain. Yeah, Raz the brainy kid who wanted to be a secret agent and the mindless dolt Billy share the same voice actor, Richard Stephen Horvitz. He also voices Zim from Invader Zim. I think you can see how refreshing it is to see him play a much more mellow character. That's enough about the not game part of the game. Let's talk about the game part of the game. Raz, being an acrobat, lets him pull all sorts of stunts. He's got the standard jump, the double jump. Once you get levitation, you can do this on a ball, so have fun with those physics. You can also grab it to slow and control your descent. He can climb certain surfaces, swing on ropes, climb them, and even swing on trapeze bars. You can also grind on rails, but it's not like Sonic the Hedgehog, although I do prefer this rail grinding to the stuff in Sonic Adventure 2. But that's just one half of his moveset. Raz is also a psychic, and as you progress through the game, you'll unlock more and more of his abilities. Psyblast lets you project a mental bolt acting as a projectile. Pyrokinesis lets you burn stuff, not nearly as useful as a Psyblast, but it's more used for some puzzles. Telekinesis lets you pick up and toss things. Invisibility kinda speaks for itself. Shield projects a mental barrier that runs on a timer. Clairvoyance allows you to see what others see, and Confusion lets you lob a psychic stun grenade that leaves foes confused. You also start off with melee attacks that are weak at first, but get a bit stronger as you progress. All over the mental worlds are these things called figments. They're like what coins are to Mario. Every 100, you rank up your Psy Cadet rank, which can allow you to unlock new abilities or even upgrade existing ones. Upon defeating enemies, they can drop mental health and ammunition for your blast and confusion grenades. Throughout the mental worlds, you can also find these things called mental cobwebs. Bring them to Agent Forward Cruller to detangle them to get psi cards to further upgrade your abilities. Occasionally, you'll also see vaults that'll hop away from you. These are mental vaults that contain deep dark secrets, so slap them open to find out more about the mind you're currently in. You can also find luggage tags for mental baggage. This game's theming is incredible, and nowhere is that more obvious than the levels themselves. The first few minds act as tutorials, so they can feel a bit weak with the exception of basic braining. Once we get to Lungfishopolis, we really begin to take advantage of the whole we're in someone's brain thing. In fact, Raz begins to loosen up with the whole secret agent thing and takes on more of a therapist role, genuinely showing care for the mental state of the minds he's currently diving into and wants to do as much as he can to help. Even in the last world, where you jump into the mind of the final boss, you're doing what you can to help them sort through their trauma rather than just beating the shit out of the bad guy. I hear Psychonauts 2 leans really hard into the mental health side of things, which I'm actually really happy to hear. Speaking of the levels, my favorite one has to be Black Velvetopia, where you help this guy Edgar through some major art block. His world is where the art style seriously pops. Hell, even Raz's character model's changed. Everyone's favorite world, the Milkman Conspiracy, is pretty good, but I think it's a little overrated. Don't get me wrong, the topsy-turvy level design, the government agents who don't know what the fuck they're doing with their roles because the government is so unfeeling in the eyes of Boyd that they possess no ability to relate to normal people. This level is absolute Cold War paranoia incarnate, but I got 3 little issues with it. 1, the post office entrance broke, so I had to reload the save file. I know that's a personal issue that will only impact me, but still. Then there's this part where you gotta use the shield ability to block shots from the sniper. I thought I could just use invisibility to sneak by because that makes sense, but no, this fucking Girl Scout can still track me when I'm invisible. Make it make sense. And lastly, I swear I'm throwing these explosives at the boss, but for some reason they just connect whenever they feel like it. But if it weren't for all that, yeah, this level would be perfect. I guess if we're talking about problems, I'm not really a fan of how often you pause the game to open up a wheel to select abilities. Normally I'm all for weapon wheels, but when you just finished up some puzzle and now you gotta pause to select new abilities in the middle of combat, it really doesn't feel all too smooth. Maybe if they slow down time so I had to do it quickly, or maybe if they just map the controls to feel a bit better during combat. I don't know. Figments can be kinda hard to see and they fly around all over the place, well out of your range to get it, so you gotta find its flight path and try to intercept it. It's annoying. I'm not the type to 100% a game, but if it's something that's right there and it can help me upgrade my abilities, yeah, I'll try and grab as many as I can see. Emotional baggage cutscenes are unskippable. They're short, but fuck me, they add up fast. That's more or less all my complaints for this game though, so back to talking about my favorite worlds. Glorious Theater was really where they laid on that these guys used to make point and click games. You're running through all these different scenes of different scripts between good and evil recreations of this person's memory in order to try and access the rafters. Waterloo is kinda cool. I wish Napoleon did a bit more besides take out a bridge or two and cheat. And while I'm kinda disappointed that Dr. Lobato didn't get his own mental world, that final level was really good. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, don't worry. Basically, you and someone else's brain got all jumbled up together, leaving your minds all mixed up. Now you need to sort through both your and their trauma. Now those who have played this game may remember this level as that dumb, really hard level with the bullshit where you have to platform as fast as possible to make sure this kid Ollie doesn't get killed by the meat monsters because it's also an escort mission. But I know it is that level that was kinda hard until I realized what you needed to do, and then it became super easy. On the off chance that I convince you to get this game and play all the way up to this part, here's what you need to do. Levitate the rabbit in place so Ollie can collect them and move up higher. Every time a bunny is collected, his HP resets back to full. As long as you stay calm, understand where you need to go, and take your time, you'll beat this level no problem. This level has the reputation it does because it makes people panic. Keep a cool head and you'll be at the credits in no time. I should say that if you ever have any trouble, you do always have a bona fide Psychonaut on speed dial.
There's that smell again.
Agent Forward Cruller can be summoned at any time with the bacon item and can be consulted on how to take down enemies or even what to do in certain situations. I barely had to even consult GameFAQs for this video thanks to him. The thing I like the most about all of these levels, however, is how they both tell us a lot about the people that we're within, as well as show the development of how Rasputin handles going into people's minds. The levels all reflect parts of the people's personalities. Coach Oleander has a battlefield for a mind due to his militant personality. Sasha 9 has a strict black and white cube because because he's serious and uptight. Mia Vidello has a trippy party for a mind because she's free-spirited and easygoing. When going through all these worlds, Raz is fascinated, intrigued, but also reckless. He accidentally trashes Agent 9's mind by letting out too many sensors and then creating a mega sensor by plugging all the sensor outlets. This all comes together in the Milkman conspiracy. Raz isn't delicate enough with Boyd's mind, just looking for the Milkman to open the gate. Doing so, he unleashes a crazed arsonist, both in his mind but also in the real world. And after Raz sees the consequences of his lack of foresight, he then handles other people's minds with extreme delicacy. He acts not in just a desire to save the day, but genuinely to help people. It's part of why Black Velvetopia is one of my favorite levels. Just like how Edgar feels trapped by the guilt of letting his friends down, we're confined to these narrow streets, constantly hunted down by the bull El Odio. The luchadors who keep stealing the cards we need for Edgar to confront his memories are actually warped versions of his old high school wrestling team. The Matador is actually the prick who took his high school crush away from him, and as it turns out, he was El Odio all along. El Odio translates to the hate, meaning that the bull represents the hate Edgar harbors towards the Matador who stole the love of his life. This game has a ton of great characters: Linda, Agent 9, Coach Oleander, Boyd, Ford Cruller, but I don't know what to tell you. I just thought Edgar's story was interesting. I ended up really enjoying this game. Like really enjoying this game. I usually don't go and play the sequel of a game directly after I finish one because I like having variety. If I'm done playing a shooter, the last thing I want to play is another shooter. I haven't touched another Final Fantasy since my first video on 4, and I prefer it this way. A lot of YouTubers I watch tend to marathon games where they play a bunch of games in a series and then they review them back to back to back. And every time, they're usually burnt out once they get to the end, and they seem refreshed once they begin the next marathon. It's why I always look at games that are different back to back. It just keeps me on my toes. I'm not gonna follow up Sonic Adventure with Sonic Adventure 2. I'm gonna follow it up with Call of Duty. But Psychonauts just felt different. I immediately picked up Psychonauts 2 when I was done playing and recording, and I didn't stop playing until I was finished. The only games that have ever made me do that was Half-Life 2 and the Ace Attorney series, so having a game go up there for me like that is honestly impressive. So do me a favor, Microsoft. Let Double Fine have as much time and resources as they want, and let Tim cook. And if their studio gets the Tango treatment, I will be moderately sad and far less inclined to purchase your products due to the continued lackluster treatment of your employees. I think I'm gonna do what I did last time and just leave my findings up on screen as I wrap things up. Rattling off each bullet point was beginning to feel really stilted. Speaking of that last video, holy shit, where the hell did you all come from? I thought that Lego Star Wars video was just a flash in the pan, but 15,000 views and almost 300 subscribers. I mean, first and foremost, thank you all for the support. It really means that you gave my work the time of day. Secondly, I got a bit of stuff wrong in that video. Escape from Tarkov is not a AAA game. Black Ops 6 is 300 gigabytes if and only if you install the other Call of Duties and all the fixins and war zones and all that. And Dave the Diver is technically not an indie game. Thank you to everyone who pointed that out. Please keep me honest. The next video should be on a much shorter game, so I hope to get that done soon. It's also the newest game I've taken a look at for this series so far. Thanks again for watching, and remember,
support your local merchant.